says we're back on board with the circuit here at Paeroa. Here's the race leaders. Oh, there are all sorts of problems.
Oh, big carnage. Oh, straight to the barriers. And through the smoke we come.
What a crash!
Welcome back to Retro Motorsport. Up first, it's the final races, a whole hour of them, from the 2010 Battle of the Streets Paeroa. It's insanity on two wheels, motorcycle racing.
The Yamaha-sponsored Formula Paeroa, certainly one of the features here as we get set to turn them loose. And away we go. Watch for number 36 on the outside as you look at it on your shot. That's Ray Clee from Coombe. You've got a good start on the Suzuki, but it's the Honda pair of Craig Sheriffs and Hayden Fitzgerald that will lead them into turn one for the first of 10 times. Up over the stop bank they come now into the Suzuki S's, and number 56 it is, Craig Sheriffs from Fielding out in the front, second place man. And that is, yes, it is Hayden Fitzgerald. And the third on the Hondas is Ryan Hampton. What a story this young man has. Started riding superbikes only this year and really has come of age on these big high horsepower machines. Into the Pirelli hairpin for the first time. Sheriff leads. Hampton right in behind his teammate, and that is Hayden Fitzgerald. Good start, as I mentioned, from number 36, the RCM-sponsored Coleman Suzuki rider, and that is Ray Clee. And behind him, well, a bit of a blast from the past. We saw Andrew Hardesty in the 600s as a blast from the past. Well, not since 2005 has Tony Rees come back. He was the king of the streets here in Paeroa, and he's back on a stock standard Yamaha R1, a 1000cc machine. You'll see him very shortly. He's just in behind Ray Clee at the moment. There he is in the back of the shot there, number 11, using his customary racing number, Tony Rees. Through the Woolworths turn they come. Ray Clee just in front of Rees, the veteran. Got the call up from Yamaha. They said, we want a Yamaha at the Yamaha Battle of the Streets. Tony put his hand up and said, yep, I'll do it. Hasn't been idle while he's been away from the racing scene. He's been organising motocross races. He and his wife Vicky very prominent in the motorcycle scene, and great to see Tony back. Flirted with car racing for a little while, but badly broke his leg in his V8 Monaro in one of the Dunlop Targas. Now back in the safety of two wheels. 56, Craig Sheriff leads at 61. Hayden Fitzgerald. Then it's Ryan Hampton, this new guy with a big future. Then it's one of the veterans. That is Ray Clee from Auckland on the Suzuki. Great to see Ray here back at the streets of Paeroa. Had a nasty arm injury a couple of seasons ago. Took him a while to get back to full form, but he's there now. Then it's Tony Rees in behind him. Then I think you'd see Paul Dobbs on the Ducati would be the next one through as we watch this enthralling battle of the more experienced, shall we say, out in the field. Hondas lead it though, 56, 61, 366 the order. It is Sheriffs, it is Fitzgerald, and it is Hampton. Then it's Clee, then it's Rees, and then, as I mentioned, it will be Paul Dobbs on the big Ducati. Formula Paeroa brought to you by Yamaha, and Craig Sheriffs just easing away a little bit here through the Suzuki S as he goes. Heads up the Dunlop straight now, and watch for the bumps. The second one is the one that gets him because it sets the bike up a little bit awkwardly for the Woolworths turn. It's not much of a corner, but when you're approaching speeds of over 230 kilometres an hour, it's quite a bend. Through the Pirelli hairpin and down the Yamaha front straight they come. Sheriff's a past winner of the Robert Holden Memorial at Wanganui, a past 600 sports production champion, a past Battle of the Streets winner. 87 there, doing a pretty good job too. And that is Mark Perry from Palmerston North, also on a big Suzuki. But it's the man on the big Honda, the Castrol Honda, doing a better job, and that is Craig Sheriffs. There he is. There's his teammate, and that is Hayden Fitzgerald out of Taranaki. His dad will be racing. You'll see him in the Formula 2 battles. Have a look at the way Hayden approaches that second bump on the Dunlop back straight. Just sets the bike up nicely for the turn. There is Hampton. He had good throttle control that comes from a trials background. Tony Rees still in behind Ray Clee. That's a bog stock R1 Yamaha. The only thing they've done, they've gone into the Yamaha parts catalogue and put a different exhaust system on it. If you look closely when you get another shot, it's still got the headlights in it. Neil Martin on your screen at the moment on the Suzuki 1000. Another one having a pretty good ride here. The man from Waitakere. Off the canal stop bank they come once again. And that lead just starting to stretch a little bit now from the Honda twins, Sheriffs and Fitzgerald. Just makes the bike nice and light as they go up over that second bump down the Dunlop straight. And look at the gap they've got on third place. And it's still Ryan Hampton from Christchurch. And as I mentioned before, You've got to tip your hat to this young man. First time on a superbike, first time in a road racing situation, and Wanganui was the first time he's ever seen a street course, and he's done a superb job. He's a contender for the Castrol Power 1 New Zealand Superbike Road Racing Championship. Second round will be next weekend in Manfield, so these guys have probably got that on the back of their minds as well. Dave MacArthur from Otrahonga about to be lapped here by Sheriffs. And that's going to allow, I think, Fitzgerald just to close up just a little bit. Number 3 there is Sean Donnelly from Wellington on the big Kawasaki 1100. He's in danger of being lapped as well. Such is the speed of the superbikes. Well, that big Kawasaki's got oodles of power, but it won't be a match for the nimbleness and the power of the Honda Superbike. The Castrol Honda of Craig Sheriff goes down the Yamaha front straight. Well, there is Mr. Yamaha from a few years ago. That is Tony Rees. Well, really still is Mr. Yamaha because he runs a Yamaha motorcycle shop. Ray Clee starting to work on Ryan Hampton now. It's youth versus experience. Clee down the inside, 50 metres to the corner. He goes to the brakes a little bit later, and we got a change in third place. Ray Clee from Kumeu moves up into third. Honda's 1, 2 and 4 now. Well, you can guarantee that Suzuki won't be slow. Ray Clee builds the engines for Andrew Stroud, builds his own engines and helps out Carl Morgan in the 600 sports production class. So he knows his way around the big Suzukis. So that will be quick. Hampton's not going to give it up without a fight, though, and Tony Rees hanging in as the laps wind down here at Paeroa. Formula Paeroa, one of the feature events on the card, a big card too. And once again, well, it goes without saying, if you're here at the Battle of the Streets, brought to you by Yamaha, it is a bright, sunny, hot day. And it's been that way for over 19 years. 56 always runs the 56 number unless it's got a 1 on it. That is Craig Sheriff's. Out of fielding, motorcycling royalty, the family. Certainly in New Zealand. White flag out. Chris Costello's got the white out, so there's 1 to go. And probably Tony Rees can't wait to see that flag. He told me before the racing he's not as fit as he'd like to be. Got the call up pretty late, but he's doing a fantastic job on that absolutely stock standard Yamaha R1. This guy's doing a pretty good job too, and they've had a season or two to sort out the Honda Superbike, and they've done that well. 56, Craig Sheriff is going to take out the win. Second place will be his teammate. There he is, Hayden Fitzgerald, up the Dunlop straight for the last time. You see how the bike gets completely unweighted. You have to use a bit of body English as you go down through the gears through the Woolworths turn. This man, a power wheelie for the huge crowd here at the Yamaha Battle of the Streets, but it's a Honda that draws first blood in Formula Paeroa. Second place, his teammate, that's Hayden Fitzgerald. Honda 1 and 2. Ray Clee from Kumeu gets third, and then it would be Ryan Hampton in fourth, and then the veteran Tony Rees would follow him.
I just put my head down and go when the lights go green and hope I get to the checkers first.
You got a good start.
Yeah, I did actually. I was surprised. Hayden actually passed me up the inside going into the first turn, but he was in very tight and he was going way too fast. So I knew he wasn't going to stay there for long, so I managed to sneak back under him and get into it. It was good.
Bike Rider magazine bring you the pre-89 post classics. Watch for number 41, that's Phil Duxbury, and also look for number 232, Jay Lawrence on the big Yamaha. Away they go. Lawrence gets a good start, but I think it'll be Duxbury that will lead them into the Bike Rider turn for the first of 6 laps here at the Hacksaw Circuit. Yamaha Battle of the Streets. Pre-89, so as the name suggests, all these bikes built or registered first before 1989. Jay Lawrence in the front, he's doing double duty. This is him on his FZ Yamaha 1000, but you'll also see him on a Hyosung bike in the F2 races. Well, nationally ranked 2 seasons ago in the 600 sports production class was Jay Lawrence, now living in Christchurch. If you're looking for a crowd pleaser out there, have a look for number 66. That's Darren Heeman from Nelson. Now, he's riding a Harley Davidson, and the only concession for speed, aside from the highway pegs, is that it's a soft tail, but it's 1580 cc's, so it's certainly not slow. Oh, a problem here. This is bike number 63 by the look, and this is David Smith. Now, if we have a look on a replay, if we get one, you'll see that David was in trouble coming up into the Woolworths turn, and that's where the crash has taken place. Here it is. Watch on the edge of your screen there, far right, number 63 gets hard on the rear brake, and if we zoom it in, you'll see it just fly into the bales, those bales filled with plastic water bottles for safety reasons, and they do their job, and I can tell you that David is okay. But because there's been so much strife on this very corner, the race has been red flagged. You see the ambulance on the track? Well, that is David Smith walking back to the pit, so he's fine, but the officials have erred on the side of caution, which is a good thing, certainly when you consider the history we've had this morning. So David Smith is fine, but it means the race will be restarted. So Jay Lawrence is going to have to do it all again, and there's no saying that he won't. Have a look out there too for number 34, that's Randall Dixon on the Suzuki. He's in the middle of the shot, and also watch for number 41 again, Phil Duxbury. Away they go, and this time it is Lawrence that gets the very best of the start. 111 Patrick Nussbaum there on the Kawasaki ZX10, and that's a naked machine, and by that we mean it hasn't got a fairing. You'll see as we get a closer shot of it, it looks slightly different to the other bikes. There is Lawrence, the FZ1000. And he's already got a pretty good lead as he goes out of the Suzuki S's and down the Dunlop straight once again. Now I would think that Nussbaum's Kawasaki is going to have a bit much for the Duxbury Suzuki. Yes, it does, so he moves up a spot as well. There is Darren Heeman, the man we're talking about. 34, Randall Dixon. Also in there, Anthony Montgomery on a NC30 400cc machine. All registered and first built before 1989. 232, Jay Lawrence leads it. 41, Duxbury in second. Then it's Nussbaum, and then it would be number 34, Randall Dixon, I would think. In fact, it may be number 28, Pete Smith on the Suzuki GSXR 1000. We'll have a look when they come a little bit closer. No doubt about the race winner into the Suzuki S's. 41, Duxbury in second. Then it's Nussbaum on the big Kawasaki. And then it is number 28, that is Pete Smith. And have a look at the flowing locks of Patrick Nussbaum, reminiscent, if you've been watching motorcycles long enough, of the style of one Robin Reed, nationally ranked top running motocrosser and also a road race champion in his day. I saw what Robin at Wanganui as a spectator. I wonder if he's here at Paeroa. 232, Lawrence getting away from the rest of the field using all the power of that FZ1000. 41, Duxbury through in second on the Suzuki. Then it is Nussbaum, and then it would be number 28, and that is Pete Smith of Rotorua. But look at the lead they're giving Jay Lawrence. Well, everything going swimmingly well for Jay up until last season's Castrol Power 1 New Zealand Road Racing Championship. Had a nasty crash at Ruapuna, set him back a long time, broke his shoulder and injured his sternum. It's taken a while to come back from that, but come back he certainly has. Now he is competing in the Castrol Power 1 Championships on the high song, as I told you, but here he is winning on his pre-89 Yamaha. There's Duxbury, there is Nussbaum on the naked Kawasaki. You see what I mean? No fairing on it. And right in behind him and getting a little bit closer now is bike number 28, and that's Pete Smith from Rotorua on another one of the big Suzukis. And this one punched out to 1127 cc's. Down into the bike rider turn they come. That is turn one here at the infamous Hacksaw Circuit. Already though, the race leader is probably a quarter of a lap ahead. He's working his way through the Suzuki S's and heading up the Dunlop straight now. Ahead of him, those difficult bumps. There's the second one. Just gets a bit of a head shake on the big Yamaha. Through the Woolworths turn he goes, up into the Pirelli hairpin, back down to second gear on the 1000cc machines, and then streaking down the Yamaha front straight. Jay Lawrence leading this. Battle for second and third tightening up though. Nussbaum gets a little bit closer to Duxbury, and also in there as well, 28, and that's Pete Smith. And I can tell you that that bike under Patrick Nussbaum is very, very fast indeed. It's a Kawasaki ZX10, so it's a 1000cc Kawasaki. But the bike in front of him under Phil Duxbury is also a 1000cc. So the big bikes coming to the fore here at the Yamaha Battle of the Street, the infamous Hacksaw Circuit. You're on the back straight. If you remember your engineering days and what those little hacksaws looked like, well, that's exactly the shape of the Yamaha Battle of the Streets course. And it's been that way for 19 years. Like so many good ideas in New Zealand, it came about over a discussion in a pub over a couple of beers. And it hasn't looked back since. There is Nussbaum. 111 on the Kawasaki. 28 in behind him. Well, you saw there earlier that Phil Duxbury just ran it a little bit wide, and that's cost him 2 spots because Peter Smith's got up in front of him as well. So Duxbury goes back to 4th place now. Lawrence through the last of the Suzuki S's and down the Dunlop Straight. He's got a huge lead. Bike number 90 is going to play a part in this. This is Dave O'Halloran on a TZR 250 Yamaha. He's the first of the lap traffic. Nussbaum through now in second place. Then it's Peter Smith, and then it is Phil Duxbury. Lawrence finally gets past Dave O'Halloran. Checkered flag comes out and he makes it look oh so easy in the Bike Rider magazine Post Classics, the pre-89, some say the forgotten years. So Lawrence wins it. Second place would be number 111. There he is, Patrick Nussbaum, and in behind him it would be number 28, Peter Smith, and behind him 41, and that is Phil Duxbury. That's how the judges will see it as well. On the warm-down lap, Jay Lawrence gets the applause of the huge crowd here at the Yamaha Battle of the Streets for a very, very comfortable win. Showy helmets bring you the Super Motards, and the one to watch for. 3 in on the right-hand side, 777, that is Auckland's Toby Summers. Watch 2 for number 11. Oh, big wheelie it was from number 11, and that was Scott Moyer, and that's really hindered his start. The veteran Mitch Rowe is in there, number 17 today. Normally runs under the 007 numbers, but he's 17 today. And a great start from the second row from Doug Stockwell. Veteran motocrosser out of Auckland, been racing Super Motard for a few seasons now. But it is 777 Toby Summers. You'll know that committed race style if you've watched coverage from the Yamaha Battle of the Streets before. He really does wring the neck of his machines. Oh, big moment there for Duncan Hart. By the look of it, he holds on to second, but only by the skin of his teeth, because here comes number 11. That is Scott Moyer on the Aprilia. Hart through in second place. Then we go further back. I think you've got Scotty Birch on the KTM. This huge field of Super Motards that really has overtaken the Formula 2 and Formula 3 fields in New Zealand over the last few years, and super popular here at Paeroa. The only thing that the Super Motards miss at Paeroa is the dirt section. They really do put on a performance. Have a look at the lean angles as Toby Summers brings it under control again into the Suzuki S. Scott Moyer through in second. Then it's Birch by the look of it. And right in behind him, it looks like it might be Brendan Code on the Husqvarna. We'll have a look as he comes a little bit closer. 61, Stockwell still in there, and right in behind him looks like Gavin Veltmeyer on the 2 KTM. Somebody had a big moment over the second bump on the Dunlop Straight, but I think they've managed to hold on to it. Out of the Pirelli hairpin, quick look behind for Toby Summers. This is the battle further down through the field. 313, Ben Land Leewarden on the KTM. He's leading a bunch of riders. That's about 7th, 8th and 9th. We go back to the front. Duncan Hart battling to hold on to third place. Loses it, I think, to the Husqvarna of Brendan Code, bike number 5. It's the SMR 530. Have a look when they come a little bit closer. No doubt about the race leader. That is Toby Summers. Second place, Scott Moyer. Scott Moyer doing double duty, because you'll see him in the Formula 3s as well. Summers that time get very close to the hay bales. Big wheelie. Have a look at the body English as he sets up for that second notorious bump up the Dunlop Straight. 223 there is Scott Birch. Then it's 86, and that is Hart. Have a look at the Husqvarna there of Brendan Code. He is in the field, and he's right up the front at the sharp end at the moment. Behind him, I think it was 61, Doug Stockwell, one of the veterans. We go back to the front running. Down the Yamaha Straight they come. 777 leads it, 11 in second. 223, Scott Birch, really only just started racing Super Motard, but a very accomplished cross-country racer. Well, you could say the same about this man too. 777 Toby Summers came to Paeroa for the first time as a spectator in a wheelchair after breaking both ankles in a motocross accident, and said to his girlfriend at the time, I'll come back here and I will race on this circuit. And, well, he's been good to his word, and Paeroa has been good to him. And speaking of his girlfriend, now his wife, expecting a baby in just a couple of days. So probably Toby's got a few other things on his mind. His lady is here, but Toby set up his pits with the fans and all sorts of things to make her as comfortable as possible. She promised him that she wouldn't deliver on the day of the Yamaha Battle of the Streets. This is Andrew Ford on the Husqvarna. You see he's got the camera on the helmet, so he's making his own video. This is a battle further down through the field. 57 is Richard Swain. He's on a Honda. Right in behind him, 196. Nick Kampenhout on Husqvarna, and then Ben Van Leeuwarden, we saw before, he's up in that mix as well. We go back to the front of the field. 777 Summers leads it, but they're getting closer, and the one that is getting closer is the 11, and that is Scott Moyer. This is his good mate Scotty Birch. He'd be in third. Well, not any longer maybe. He might have been passed on that last lap. We'll have a look. And speaking of last laps, we're on the last lap. Chris Costello hangs out the flag, the official starter here at the Yamaha Battle of the Streets. 196 there, Kampenhout on the Husqvarna. That's that battle, remember, he saw the one-arm man. That's Nigel Curtis from Christchurch. He's in it as well. So too is Andrew Ford on the Husky. We go back to the front, and it's getting a little bit tighter now because Scott Moyer has put on a bit of a charge. It's Aprilia versus Aprilia. The Go Fast Films Aprilia of Toby Summers and the Aprilia of Scott Moyer. And I don't think Moyer's got anything for Summers. The camera foreshortens a little bit, but I think Toby Summers has got a winning break here through the Woolworths turn and into the Pirelli hairpin for the last time. Aprilia, and KTM, I think, in third place still. We'll have a look as the drag race to the checkered flag begins, and Toby Summers gets his first win in the book here at Paeroa. Second place, and how close it was right on the finish for Scott Moyer. In third place it is number 223, and that is Scott Birch, and then it would be Duncan Hart following him. Behind Hart would have been number 6, Gavin Veltmeyer.
I made a few mistakes on the first lap, a few more mistakes. Scotty then got behind me with a bit of gap. The gap stayed the same for most of the race until the last lap when I cooled down a bit, and then come out the last corner, look behind, and he's there, and I'm like, oh, head down. So yeah, I managed to get the win, so I'm pretty happy with that.
Well, this is the Coromandel FM sponsored Bears. Bears stands for British European American Racing. And you won't see any Japanese bikes here, but you'll see some fast ones. There's none faster than number 196, Paul Dobbs from Tuakau on the Ducati 999. Now, we're used to seeing Paul in the classics on his BSA and his Norton, but he's got astride a big Ducati, so watch out. Big field of bikes too in the Bears. And it is Dobbs in the front. And it looks like the Aprilia of Mark Perry through in second place. That's the big GSR 1000. So down the Dunlop Straight for the first time, Dobbs in the front. Spent time in the Northern Hemisphere up in England as a test rider for Triumph. Goes very well in the 675 Triumph Daytona, but now has become an exponent on the streets. Went well in Wanganui, always goes well here at Paeroa, and going well at the moment out of the Pirelli hairpin and down the Yamaha front straight he comes. Dobbs leads it, Perry in second. There he is, bike number 87 in third place. Well, he's a perennial front runner here at Paeroa. That's Hamilton's Stephen Bridge on the Ducati 900. And you'll see his brother in there, bike number 47, and that is Chris Bridge. Now, the difference between those two bikes is that Chris rides the 600cc machine and Stephen is on the 900. So watch for Stephen Bridge to be a factor in this. At the moment, though, it is all the man from Tuakau, and that is Paul Dobbs. On the Big Duke, the 999. Perry on the Aprilia in second. Looks like Gary Johnson making a move just in the background in that bright yellow Ducati. The man from Whitford, just southeast of Auckland. These two starting to get away. This one brought to you by Coromandel FM, the only local radio station that gets both sides of the Coromandel. There is Dobbs, and there is Mark Perry. Well, you see Perry doing double duty here today as well. He races in the Formula Paeroa, leading the second bunch, Daniel de Melmonch from Hastings, and then Darren Heeman from Nelson on the big Harley Davidson. Already seen him in the Formula Paeroa as well. De Melmonch leading the bunch, as we said. Here's Gary Johnson. We go back to the front of the field, and really, you got to say Perry can't make an impression on the rest of these guys. There's Gary Johnson. 517. Now that's an interesting machine. That's a Motor Guzzi, and it went very well under Bernard Ryan at Wanganui at the Cemetery Circuit this year, and he's doing well here at Paeroa too. So this little battle group we're concentrating on here, Johnson right in behind him. It's number 211, Dwayne Bishop from Wanganui on another Aprilia. Then it is the Motor Guzzi, and right beside him now as they come into the bike rider turn, well, that was Stephen Bridge, so he's making an impression here in the Bears. British European Racing Series is what Bears stands for, brought to you by Coromandel FM, and out in the front it is Paul Dobbs. And here he is. And he has stretched that lead over Mark Perry now as he goes up the Dunlop Straight. There's Perry in second place. Third is Johnson, right in behind him. Dwayne Bishop. There's Bishop, number 211. If you have a look out there, you'll see Darren Heeman in that bunch as well. 88 leading this group through is Brian Craig from Paeroa. Bike number 6 there is Glenn Walker-Holt from Thames. So you see, that's a super motard bike, but it qualifies because it is a European machine. 295, just going through your shot, was Alex Simpson from Australia. So they've come from near and far to be here at Paeroa, but they've all come to try and keep this man in sight. Dobbs is making a bit of a nonsense of this as he works his way through some of the lap traffic. There is the Aussie about to be lapped. Right in behind him, it's Charles Hedges from Narawahia. He's on a Ducati, but so is this man. 196, Paul Dobbs, just rounding up the slower bikes here as he runs away with this one. Coromandel FM brings it to you. It's the Bears here on the Yamaha Battle of the Streets. Takes them a while to get around our Australian visitor, and that is Alex Simpson from Victoria, or Melbourne in fact, in Victoria. There is Stephen Bridge, so he's starting to work his way to the front. Bike number 7 there is Justin Power from Napier on the Husqvarna, another one that you'll see in the super motards. Number 18, Craig Sargent from Paeroa on the Ducati. But just cutting his way through them like a hot knife through butter is Dobbs. Big wheelie as he goes up the Dunlop straight once again. Second place the last time we looked, it was still number 87, and that was Mark Perry on the Aprilia. I think it is, but he's a long way back now around the Pirelli hairpin. Will he see the white flag this lap? Tuakau's Paul Dobbs, the Triumph factory test rider. Not only will he see the white flag, he'll see the checkered flag. Dobbs wins it, and wins it handsomely. Rest of the field coming through now. There is Gary Johnson in the back of your shot there now. Has he got up in front of Dwayne Bishop? I think he has, but has he got in front of Mark Perry? We'll let the judges decide. There's absolutely no doubt about the winner, and that was Paul Dobbs. This is the Yamaha Battle of the Streets, and these are one of the crowd favourites. This is the South Power, the solar specialist here in Paeroa, sponsored sidecars. Have a look for number 12. That is Adam Unsworth and Stu Dorr from Wanganui. What a season they've had. But sneaking into the front, or have they? Going around the outside, Chris and Richie Lawrence. Oh, problems for one of the rigs on the start straight here. Looks like the machine stalled. That's Brian Craig and Kathy Looney from Paeroa on the Mobilt GSXR 1100 Suzuki powered rig. They're away now, but they've given these guys one heck of a start, and you can't afford to do that, especially when you're riding as well as Adam Unsworth and Stu Dorr have been over the season thus far in New Zealand. Lawrence has slipped back into third place now. No, make that second. But it's all the Honda Windle, the Boss Engineering sponsored Honda Windle of Unsworth and Dorr. Second place wearing bike number 1 is Chris and Richie Lawrence of Auckland, the Yamaha New Zealand Yamalube and Ugly Fish Sunny sponsored rig. Now they're the current national road racing sidecar champions, but the sidecars, well, they've had a bit of a troubled season in the Castrol Power 1 New Zealand Superbike Road Racing Championships, and the Lawrence brothers haven't been competing, so they haven't been defending their number 1 title, but they're trying to defend their King of the Streets here at Paeroa, because they are, well, they were unstoppable last year at Paeroa. Maybe this year that title is going to fall to these combinations. Number 12, Unsworth and Dorr from Wanganui. Then it's Richie Lawrence doing the swinging, Chris Lawrence doing the driving. And look how sideways they get in the Anderson Yamaha coming out of the Suzuki S's. Well, if you thought the bumps were tough on 2 wheels, have a thought for these guys, the swingers or the sidecar co-pilots, call them what you will. Swingers is the vernacular. They really do get a physical workout around here. And it looks like the Lawrence is getting a little bit closer. There's something hanging off the side of the bike. We'd like to have a look at that. There's number 88. They, remember, had problems at the start. Brian Craig and Kathy Looney from Paeroa. And the Lawrences are definitely getting closer, so we could have a battle in the closing stages of this one. Unsworth and Dorr are going to have to look to their laurels, because Chris and Richie Lawrence are coming, and the 88 rig, Brian Craig and Kathy Looney, going to play a part in this, because they're going to be closed down very shortly. Up the Dunlop back straight they go, into the Woolworths turn, and then into the Pirelli hairpin. This is the rig currently in third place. This is Stu Prentice and Chris Meads. Well, Chris Meads, another one doing double duty here at Paeroa, because you'll see him on 2 wheels as well, and in behind them it's number 50, and that's Des James and Darren Prentice. So there's family honour here in this contact in the Pirelli hairpin. Well, no love lost between the Prentices, Stu and Darren. Have a look at it on the replay. You be the judge. Did the 40 come over on them, or was it a little bit ambitious of Des James to try and drive up the inside? The result is the same. The 50 pays the price. We go back to the top of the field now, and we're in the closing stage of this one, and it is still Unsworth and Dorr, but only by the skin of their teeth, because look at Richie and Chris Lawrence closing them down here. Rig number 77 is Darren Pate from Caddy Caddy. He's in the mix as well, but nowhere near as much as these guys. They're running out of corners to do it, though. 12, Adam Unsworth and Stu Dorr from Wanganui, the Honda Windle in the front. Chris and Richie Lawrence from Auckland on the Yamaha, the Anderson Yamaha in second place. These as technologically sound, as technologically modern as sidecars get in New Zealand. You're watching the best here at the Yamaha Battle of the Streets. And are we going to see a Yamaha win here? Well, the laps are running down for the number one pairing. That is Chris and Richie Lawrence. Well, there's a problem here for the number 50. Remember, they made that contact, Des James and Darren Prentice. The arm comes out from Darren Prentice. Meantime, we go back to the front and the, well, maybe the elastic snap, because I think Unsworth and Dorr are just getting away. Have a look at the pink rig. That's rig number 28. That's Tracy Anderson and Astrid Hartnell from Tauranga. Two young women having fun in a sidecar. And just up in front of them, I think it's Daryl Doman and his brother. We go back to the front now. And the Yamaha closing in like a shark circling its prey. Have they got enough? Down the Dunlop Straight they come. 1, Chris and Richie Lawrence from Auckland. 12, Adam Unsworth and Stu Dorr from Wanganui. You see the bodywork hit the pavement over the second bump, so it really is a workout, physical and mechanical. Into the Pirelli hairpin they go. The Boss Engineering rig in the front. Back further down through the field, it is still number 40 in third place. Doesn't look like they sustained any damage in the contact with the 50 rig. Hooper Engineering, Stu Prentice and Chris Meads. Then it's the number 50. Well, they've decided to carry on. There's Daryl Dowman, and right in behind him it's the ladies. Bike number 28, Tracy Anderson and Astrid Hartnell. They're having a good little scrap for the minor placings, and it's harder for the girls because they just don't have the body weight, and that's not sexist in any way. That's just a simple fact. Ben Craig and Brian Craig, I should say, Kathy Looney make up the full field as we go back to the front. In and out of the Suzuki S as they come once again. Chris and Richie Lawrence have tasted victory here at Paeroa on countless times. Are they going to do it here in the South Power sidecars? 12, Unsworth and Dorr take the inside run through that Woolworths turn, and it really does punish the rig, but they stay in the front, and that's all they need to do. Bit sideways coming out of the Pirelli turn, and that's allowed Lawrence, should I say Chris and Richie Lawrence, to get a little bit closer as they run down past Chris Costello with the flag, and it is the Wanganui pairing of Adam Unsworth and Stuart Dorr that get the win. In second place it will be Chris and Richie Lawrence, and in third place it'll be bike number 40, and that is Stu Prentice and Chris Meads. And once again, their good season continues. Adam Unsworth and Stu Dorr, they've certainly been applying the ointment. They win the South Power sidecars from Chris and Richie Lawrence of Auckland. This is the Barnes Jenkins King of the Streets over 10 laps. It's the fastest of the bikes all day here at the Yamaha Battle of the Streets, and it looks like pretty much a Honda freight train as they head into the first turn, and I think that's Ryan Hampton in the front. We'll have a look when they come a little bit closer. It was certainly Hayden Fitzgerald in second and Craig Sheriff's in third. I expect that to change, but these are the fastest. You'll see a couple of super motards in there. Nick Cole is in there on a 600cc machine. No Jared Love, remember, he had a crash in the first F2 race and he's on his way to hospital. But this is Ryan Hampton, and what an amazing season it's been for this guy. First year on superbikes and doing the job. Right in behind him, well, the man that owns the streets in New Zealand, that is Craig Sheriffs, and right in behind him, his teammate, and that is bike number 61, that's Hayden Fitzgerald, son of Terry. Across the stripe for the first time, and it is Ryan Hampton. He banks the first $100. $100 cold hard cash every lap led, and it's the young Honda Charger in the front. Fitzgerald in second. Then it looks like Craig Sheriff, so I expect that to change. Also in there, Nick Cole on the 600. Ray Clee there as well. And in that mix will be the other veteran in the field, and that is Tony Rees on the absolutely stock standard R1 Yamaha. So we have a leader change. 56, Sheriff's in the front, up on the pegs as they work their way through the Woolworths turn and into the Pirelli hairpin once again. He wants some of the Paeroa Trust cash. Remember, it's $100 led for each of the 10 laps, so you can make it a pretty good payday if you can lead all of them. Craig Sheriff thinks he can. He's already lowered the track record here, and I think we put that down to conditions. It's hot, the road temperature is up, There's the rest of the field coming through now. As I said, we've got a couple of super motards out there. But at the front, at the business end, the sharp end, call it what you will, it is Sheriffs once again in control. Out of the Suzuki S as he comes, down the Dunlop straight. Second place, Hayden Fitzgerald. Then we'd go back to Ryan Hampton. Then we'd go back to Nick Cole. In fact, Cole's got in front of Hampton on the big Honda. Cole, remember, on the 600cc Kawasaki. Then behind him, I think it's Ray Clee. There is Tony Rees on the Yamaha R1, that stock standard Yamaha. The only thing they've done, they've put a different exhaust system on it, but it is available in the Yamaha parts catalogue, the GYTR parts catalogue. So it is completely, or virtually completely, stock standard. The Yamaha that Tony Rees is riding, and riding the wheels off, I might say. Pretty good comeback considering he hasn't been to the Battle of the Streets since 2005. The man at the front of the field, well, he's been to the Battle of the Streets for the last few years, and he's been a winner here as well. 56 Sheriffs, 61 Hayden Fitzgerald in second, then it's number 5, that's Nick Cole, then it's Hampton, then it is 36 Ray Clee on the RCM Suzuki, and then behind him it is Tony Rees, past King of the Streets here at Paeroa. He'd like to take the $100 that Craig Sheriffs is getting for every lap led. So it looks like a good payday for the man from fielding, the Castrol Honda of Craig Sheriff, showing them all a clean pair of heels today. I can tell you there's a couple of interested spectators watching this. One of them just happens to be Robbie Bugden, who is the Australian, the 3-time New Zealand Superbike champion. I talked to him before this race, and he was absolutely gobsmacked with not only the race, the racing, but the crowds. He said, you just don't see crowds like that at a motorcycle event in Australia unless it's World Superbikes. 61, Fitzgerald. No change in the order for the moment. Through the Pirelli hairpin comes the race leader. This is Craig Sheriffs. Another one that's raced all around the world. Now considered one of the more senior competitors. This is Lance Lowe from Auckland on the Kawasaki, making a return to Paeroa. Had a nasty crash here a couple of seasons ago, badly broke his ankle. This is the Super Motard boys, they're having their own race. Scott Moyer and Duncan Hart. We go back to the front of the field now. You can see the black rubber on the pavement where the boys are hard on the brakes coming in and out of the Suzuki turn. Nick Cole getting a little bit closer to Hayden Fitzgerald, but Sheriffs continues to lead it. Over the Waller Street bump, into the Woolworths turn, and now down through the gearbox and hard on the brakes for the Pirelli hairpin. Barnes Jenkins bringing you the king of the streets, but also helping out. Plugs for Lugs, Adams Electrical, United Travel, the Coombe and Associates, all contributing to that $100, because remember, it's $100 cold hard cash in the back pocket for every lap led. There is Toby Summers, there is Scott Birch, and there is Duncan Hart, having a great old battle. 23, Carl Morgan, he's in the mix as well. In fact, I think he's just up in front of Adam Chambers at the moment. Hayden Fitzgerald may be starting to close the gap now on his teammate. Sheriff's out in the front, Fitzgerald through in second. You'll see the gap here as they go up the Dunlop straight. Just remember that the camera foreshortens the distance. Nick Cole fighting gallantly against the big bikes. He's on the 600, remember. Everyone else on the 1000cc superbikes. Well, everyone else in front of him anyway. Through the Pirelli hairpin he goes. Had some problems there in the morning practice. Dropped the Kawasaki. In fact, he's dropped it twice today. So not the ideal preparation for his campaign here at Paeroa. Big wheelie from Lance Lowe. Well, he's a specialist. He's known for it. So this is the battle of the minors. These are the guys we've seen performing so well in the various classes, but out in the front, well, it's the fastest guys on the racetrack, and there's none quicker at Paeroa this year than the 56 of Craig Sheriffs, and there he is. And I might be mistaken, but I think that Hayden Fitzgerald's just getting a little bit closer. I wonder if Craig is just eased off a little bit here. He's still pretty comfortable out of the Suzuki S's and down the, out of the Pirelli hairpin and down the front straight. This is Adam Chambers on the Kawasaki, and right in front of him at the moment, number 23, Carl Morgan, a national champion in the Pro Twins in its first year of existence in New Zealand, but now back on the 600 and doing a pretty good job. Yeah, Fitzgerald's definitely closing the gap. Now, whether Craig Sheriffs has got a problem or whether he's eased off, I don't know. But what it's going to do, it's going to bring the Kawasaki of Nick Cole up to this battle as well. Sheriffs leads it. Honda 1 and 2, Castrol Honda. Then we go back to Kawasaki, New Zealand, Auckland Steel, Kawasaki 600 of Nick Cole. There he is, just coming out of the Pirelli hairpin and down the Yamaha front straight now. Another $100 for Craig Sheriff. He's got another 100 to earn if he can stay in the front for this last lap. Then, of course, he's got the major part of the prize money for winning the race overall. 1 lap to go in the King of the Streets here at Paeroa. There is Andrew Hardesty, bike number 100. He's about to be lapped by Craig Sheriffs. Such is the pace, the power of the Honda race team. Hayden Fitzgerald sitting comfortably in his slipstream in second place. Hardesty, another one making a comeback along with Tony Rees, both in this field. Hardesty, an ex-national motocross champion, ex-road racing champion. Hayden Fitzgerald having a bit of trouble to get around him. He doesn't really need to. He's got second wrapped up, but as they come across the line, another $100 and the win in the Barnes-Jenkins King of the Streets to Fielding's Craig Sheriff. He's had a banner day here at Paeroa, took a track record in the first Formula Paeroa race and gets a win here in the King of the Streets. Second place will be number 61, Hayden Fitzgerald, and in third place it will be the Kawasaki of Nick Cole. So his good summer continues as the rest of the field comes across. Sheriff's waving to the huge crowd here for the 19th year. It's the Yamaha Battle of the Streets under beautiful sunny conditions, and the King of the Streets goes to... Oh, and there's a problem here. Well, I think Nick Cole was waving at some spectators and he's forgotten to turn left. Well, he's hit the tarmac twice already. Now make it 3. They say 3's the charm. Well, Nick won't want to hear that. Back into the pits goes Sheriff, but what a performance from Nick Cole on the warm-down lap. Can you believe it? The good news is Cole was okay, picked the machine up straight away. And the good news for Craig Sheriff is he wins the King of the Streets. Craig, congratulations. That's the one you wanted, the King of the Streets.
Yeah, I want to win every race I go in, but that's sort of the feature race for today, so it's good to get another win. Feeling good today. Bike's a bit more powerful than the one that we had here last year, and suspension's quite different. Later model tyres from Pirelli, and I think we're about 10 horsepower up on the CBR that we had here last year, so we've done a bit of work in the off-season, and it's paying off, it seems. Probably lucky Gareth and Stroud in that aren't here, or it wouldn't be quite as... I mean, yeah, it looks easy, but it's not. I'm busting my ass to go as fast as I'm going, so...
No disgrace when you come second to your teammate and he breaks your track record.
Yeah, I know. Old Ryan Hampton, he had a good start too, which yeah, it's quite surprising for his first time here. So yeah, good on him. And yeah, Craig definitely rode well. Couldn't keep up with that, so we'll try in the next one. But started catching him towards the end, so maybe the heats might be getting to him.
The action continues here at the Yamaha Battle of the Streets. This is the Hauraki Post-Classics Forgotten Era, pre-82 Post-Classics. So you'll see Suzuki's, you'll see Yamahas, you'll see all sorts in here. There's a few Ducatis in there. Watch for number 76, Chris Sales from Fielding on a much modified XR Honda. Gets a good start, but the wheelie might slow him down a bit. Great start too for bike number 38. That's Chris Meads from Harwera. Well, he's doing double duty. We saw him swinging for Stu Prentice earlier on in the sidecars, and now he's back on 2 wheels and doing a pretty good job because he's in the front. The man from Harwera on the Suzuki leads it. Looks like Chris Sales through in second place, just looking out there for number 3. It's the Kawasaki GP2 1170 of Sean Donnelly. There he is with the big square number plate. Hard to miss. But it's the other square number plate in the field that's leading at the moment, and that is Chris Sales. Well, they march to the beat of a different drum, it is he and his father, because they race this Honda Hybrid, and they also race an old ex-Suzuki motocross. They're a TM400, which was an evil machine in its day. Well, the Honda hasn't got the wheels that the number 3 has of Sean Donnelly, so Donnelly goes into the front as they work their way through the kink and down into the Bike Rider Magazine turn for the first time of 6. And there's a problem here. Now, are we going to see a yellow flag? Is this going to halt the progress a little bit? Well, Chris Sales has been dispatched back to third place now because Stephen Bridges made his way up into second. The F1 Engineering Ducati 900. Sales goes back to third. Then I think we might have another Ducati in the mix as well. It is bike number 47, and this is Chris Bridge. This is Stephen Bridges' brother. There is Bernard Ryan on the Moto Guzzi. He's in it as well. Down the Yamaha front straight they come once again. Sean Donnelly, well, he makes a habit of winning these post-classic races. To Sean Donnelly out of Wellington. He's got two of these very, very well-preserved Kawasaki's. He rides one on the street and he races one. This is the one he races, and they've really put some work into this machine. It's an absolute picture, and it's fast as a bullet out of a gun. Donnelly leads it. Bridge is second. That's Stephen Bridge. Then we go back to Chris Sales on the Honda, the XR Honda, the twin shocker. There he is. Fielding's Chris Sales. He's not going to give this one up without a fight. In fact, they've got a little bit of a breakaway now on the chasing bunch. And there's one of the chasing bunch on one of the oldest machines in the field. This is Vince Burrell from Hastings on another Moto Guzzi. Donnelly starting to get away now. The elastic seems to have broken between him and Stephen Bridge. Down into the bike rider turn they come once again. You see the 100 and the 50-metre boards. That's the breaking point for some of these machines. And you think when they're hauling them down from 230-odd kilometres an hour, that is quite some braking. Number 163, there's Andrew Kidd from Wanganui on the Suzuki GS550, and he's going very, very slowly indeed. So he's got a mechanical issue of some sort, I would think. Donnelly continues to lead it. Sales up into second place now, so Bridge made a mistake, and that allows Chris Sales to get through once again. And if anything, Chris Sales is just starting to wind in Sean Donnelly a little bit now. Down the Yamaha front straight they go once again. Sales has a look to his right, can't see anyone there. I can tell him that Stephen Bridge is breathing down his neck on the 900cc Ducati, the Formula One engineering sponsored machine. Then it's the Moto Guzzi of Bernard Ryan. Bike number 517. Bernard sponsored by Leader Leathers. Now there's a blast from the past if ever there was one. Leader Leathers still in business, but once they were the preeminent leather manufacturer, both motocross and road racing. All the stars wore Leader Leathers way back when. Donnelly on the Kawasaki, I should say. Sales riding behind him, then it's Bridge. So these three clearing away from the rest of the Hauraki post-classic Forgotten Era field. And already the lap traffic again is going to play a part. And Chris Sales just wringing the neck of the Honda Hybrid. There it is. 222 in the field. That's Kevin Kingham from Waihi. He's on a GS 1000 Suzuki. So you see all sorts of different makes there. Bike number 81, that is Frank Besant from Auckland on another GSX 1000 Suzuki. Bike number 141 is Bill James. We'll see Bill in the older bike classes on his BSA. He's not riding his BSA today though. Here are the leaders working their way through the lap traffic. Donnelly still leads at 76. Sales getting closer and closer. Maybe he's got the edge in the tight corners using the motocross heritage of his XR 500 hybrid. Sitting in second place. Bridge, though, putting on the challenge as they come out of the Pirelli hairpin. Who gets the better drive? Is it the 900 Kawasaki, or should I say the 900 Duke, or is it the 1170 Kawasaki? It's the Kawasaki, and Sean Donnelly wins it. 76. Chris Sales is second on the Honda XR 500, and in third place it is Stephen Bridge on that Ducati 900. Well, the action continues here at the Yamaha Battle of the Streets, and this is the Suzuki-sponsored Formula 2. And have a look at the start from the Suzuki in the centre of the picture, and that's number 23, Carl Morgan from Auckland. The Coleman Suzuki RCM Racing Team 600 gets into the front. Watch too for Nick Cole. He'll be there on the Kawasaki, and so too will Adam Chambers. And that's the way it's turned out as they work their way off the stop bank and into the Suzuki S's. Morgan in the front, Nick Cole in second, then it's Chambers by the look of it in third. Just trying to find who's back there in fourth place. We'll get them very shortly. Craig Frethy got a good start too on the Honda, so he's in the mix. There he is on the red Honda CBR 600cc machine. So essentially they are 600cc bikes in this Formula 2 here at Paeroa. The Yamaha Battle of the Streets. Down the front straight they come. 23 leads it. That's Carl Morgan. He was the 2008 Pro Twins national champion. Then he made the move up to 600 Sports Production. He's still riding the 600 Sports Production. In fact, he'll be going to Manfield next weekend for the penultimate round of the Castrol Power One New Zealand Superbike Road Racing Championship. And so too will the man behind him, Nick Cole, and he's in a real chance to win the title. He's had such a fantastic season, although he's hit the tarmac a couple of times already today here at Paeroa. There he is, number 5, Nick Cole, part of the Red Devil Racing team, talking to his dad, Graham. And he told me that Nick is so much more committed this season than he has been for the last few. Lost 20 kg in training and serious preparation work for the summer motorcycling season here in New Zealand, and it shows in his results. So Cole in second, 23, Morgan leads it. This big field already strung out right around the infamous Hacksaw circuit here at the Yamaha Battle of the Streets. Down the inside comes Nick Cole. You see the back of the bike chattering under braking, but I think he's made the pass work. We'll have a look when we get that next shot of the leaders. Will it be the Suzuki of Morgan, or will it be the Kawasaki? It's still the Suzuki of Carl Morgan, so he's riding the wheels off that. Good race too coming from David Manuel. There he is, bike number 94 on yet another Suzuki. You know, at one stage, Suzuki's ruled the roost in the 600 class, but, well, it hasn't been that way for a couple of years because we've had an import by the name of Gareth Jones here, and also Sam Smith doing great job on the Yamaha machines. But it's a Suzuki out in the front at the moment. It's Carl Morgan, and Carl Morgan runs it a bit wide coming out of turn 1, and that's the incentive that Nick Cole needed, and through he goes. Bike number 5, Nick Cole out of Hamilton. The Kawasaki New Zealand, Auckland Steel, Red Devil Racing, Kawasaki 600, Cole in the front, Morgan in second place. In fact, Morgan now the Suzuki in the Kawasaki sandwich, because that's Adam Chambers in behind, bike number 65, a teammate of Nick Cole, another Red Devil Racing sponsored machine. Graham Cole, the founder and team principal of Red Devil Racing, he'd be pretty happy with what he's seeing at the moment. 5, 23, 65, the order, the top 3 in the Formula 2. Here is the battle of the miners, if you like, although that's a bit unkind. 713 doing a pretty good job out there. In fact, 712, Shane Tunnicliffe from Morrinsville. Nobody doing a better job than this guy, though. Although, as I said before, he's already had a couple of tarmac samplings today. Crashed the Kawasaki in practice. They got it back together again for the first F2 race. Then he got involved with Jared Love. They both crashed. Nick picked the bike up and continued and went on to win it. Also had a tumble in the King of the Streets race on the warm-down lap, can you believe it? And now here he is, back with the straightened Kawasaki, leading the Suzuki-sponsored Formula 2 race. Cole, 1 lap to go, 23. Morgan's going to hang on for second, is he? Because the gap between him and Chambers is growing just a little bit. That's the battle at the front of the field. Last time we looked, it was number 94, David Manuel, in third. Are the lap traffic going to play a part in this? Into the Suzuki S's for the last time for Nick Cole out of Hamilton. Got an ambition to ride in the Isle of Man. Many Kiwis have done it before. Nick wants to follow in their footsteps or their wheel tracks. Well, he is doing the right job here because he's putting on a performance that may just influence a few of the right people. 5, Cole leads at 23, Morgan in second, 65 in third, and that is Adam Chambers. As they go across the line, and Nick Cole makes it look easy. 23, Carl Morgan is second, and in third place it will be Adam Chambers. So that's how they finished in the Suzuki-sponsored Formula 2. Second race of this hot afternoon for the Subway Junior Classics, and if it goes according to the script, watch for number 7. That is Ginger Malloy out of Huntly, internationally ranked rider. Still these days, certainly was in his heyday, competed up in Asia on the world stage as well in the 250cc class on all sorts of different bikes, but he's really found a home with Bultaco. It's the Bultaco he's on here, bike number 7, the TSS 249, so a 250cc machine. In fact, there's a couple of Bultacos out on the field. They've all followed Ginger's lead. And I think they'll be following Ginger for quite some time yet. So we've got 2 races within one here, folks. The Junior Classics away, and now the Senior Classics get away as well. So there is number 7, Ginger Malloy, already starting to put a bit of distance between himself and bike 212, Andrew Drake of Cambridge on the Velocette. In the Seniors, well, it's Warren Marsh in the front on the Norton. And there he is there. I think he's chased by Colin Tate, number 101 from Wanganui, the Tate Engineering Norton Dominator 750. So that classic British mark Norton coming to the fore in the Senior Classics. Remember, 2 races within one. There's Marsh, there's Tate. Third place, number 95, Neville Mickelson on a Jawa Brigo 500. We go back to the front of the Junior Classics, brought to you by Subway. And, well, just as he did in race number 1, Ginger Malloy is pulling away. In fact, he's in danger of catching up to the clerk of the course car, the car they used to separate the two classes in this race. 7, Ginger Malloy. Second place at the moment is still Andrew Drake from Cambridge. You can see the two-stroke smoke swirling behind the Bultaco of Ginger Malloy, and you can see there the course car. Now that will turn off this lap, and the racing will continue as they head down into the bike ride-up magazine turn. This is the battle in the seniors, so they're virtually they're getting closer, but I think the seniors, well, will they catch them? They didn't in the first race. They got right up there, and this man did it. Warren Marsh, Colin Tate in second. I don't think they'll pass Ginger Malloy, though. They certainly didn't in race number 1, and the handicap is just the same. Out of the Pirelli hairpin, down the Yamaha front straight comes the race leader in the senior part of the Subway Junior and Senior Classics. This is Warren Marsh, Colin Tate in second place, number 101, both on Nortons. Back to the front of the juniors now. Has there been a change in second place? Because I tell you, there hasn't been a change in first. It's still the veteran. It is still number 7, and that is Ginger Malloy. Looks like bike number 53, Paul Carr of Henderson's moved through into second spot now. Rest of the field funneling in and out of the Pirelli hairpin. Now, if we hold this shot long enough, you might just be able to see a couple of the stragglers in the Junior Classics being overtaken by the seniors. Here's the flag bearer, if you like, for the seniors, number 135, Warren Marsh. The Puketapu Motors, Marsh Racing, Norton Manx 500. So he's starting to round up a few of them. And it'll be bike number 89, Daniel Hanley, will be the first to feel the hot exhaust of the Norton. Marsh goes past like he's chained to a post. Colin Tate follows him. That's what's happening in the seniors. We go back to the juniors now, coming out of the Suzuki S's and down the Dunlop straight. Still Ginger Malloy comfortably in front. Then it is bike number 53, and that is Paul Carr. Then we go back to Andrew Drake, by the look of it, through in third. There's Carr. There is number 141 in the mix as well, and that is Bill James. I said we'd see Bill James on his older classic machine, and that is it, and that's the AJS 7R 350. We go back to the Senior Classics, brought to you by Airho, the new helmet on the market, and it is Warren Marsh still leading on the Manx Norton. Really starting to reel in some of the slower junior riders. The Junior Classic race brought to you by Subway, Eat Fresh. 111, Ray Haywood, the next one to feel the wrath of Marsh as they head down the front straight and into the bike rider turn. At the very front of proceedings, remember it was a split grid start. Bike number 89's come down, and that is Daniel Hanley. As I was saying, it was a split grid start. The seniors gave the juniors around about 3/4 of a lap start. You'll see in the back of the shot, just coming around out of the Suzuki S's and down the Dunlop straight, the first of the Senior Classics, the Airho Senior Classics, and that is Warren Marsh. Meantime, the juniors being led comfortably by an icon of New Zealand motorcycling, and that is Ginger Malloy. Still calls Huntley home, still loves racing his bikes. He wouldn't tell me how old he is, but I can tell you he is getting on. And he's been racing bikes all the time. Had a little bit of a break, but got back into it. Tried his hand at karting for a little while. Didn't like it. Went back to the Bultaco. And there he is, heading round on his last lap out of the Suzuki S's and down the Dunlop straight. And have a look how this older machine will handle the bumps. Well, maybe we won't be able to see because we go back to the Airho Senior Classic field, and there is Warren Marsh. Colin Tate through in second. In the juniors, though, it's Ginger Malloy, and it's all Ginger Malloy. And it has been for years and years and years in classic racing, and before that in straight-out racing. Ginger Malloy, a legend in his own lifetime, is going to win here the Subway Junior Classics in this combined race. Wins it comfortably. And look at this. Warren Marsh has come through to second to win the senior part of the Classics, brought to you by Airho Helmets. And also brought to you by Forbes and Davies Wholesale. So Ginger Malloy takes the win in the juniors, and Warren Marsh gets the win in the seniors.
Next up, we go back onto the water. It's round 7 of the 2008 Offshore Powerboats in Napier.
On that fateful morning back in February 1931 when the big earthquake hit, some of the eyewitnesses said it was like rolling thunder. Well, it was rolling thunder of a different kind that hit the shore in Napier for round 7 of the Cougar Marine NX Metals New Zealand Offshore Powerboat Series. What lay ahead for the drivers were big swells and big seas. Experiencing that for the first time was Tony Coleman and the vastly experienced Wayne Carson.
I think everybody was waiting to see what the boat would go like in the rough, so I think we know how it goes now, so we're absolutely over the moon. There's a lot of pressure from the team and supporters and that. They're sort of expecting the same again, so we'll be going as hard as we can to get that.
Looking to get back on the winning track, Sleepyhead's Craig Archer and Peter Turner.
There is going to be a little bit of lift out there. It won't be like Tauranga where it was just absolutely dead flat. There will be some lift, and there's supposed to be a nor'easterly building which will chop things up a wee bit, but it will be predominantly calm, which is a hell of a lot nicer to racing than what we race in the Whitianga.
Coming off a DNF at Whitianga was the top superboat light boat, Ray Glass's Kelly Smith and Travis Thompson.
Well, last race all we had to do was keep finishing and we had a DNF, so now we've got to do a bit better than finish. But I think as long as, well, obviously we want to win, but as long as we can finish only one place behind Dad, I think we'll still stay in front, so that's the aim of the game. Get round and make sure we at least get second, if not first.
We'd like to see it in the rear vision mirrors this time, but we're just happy if we finish these days. We've had a bit of a horror season with the odd mishaps during the races, so we'll be happy just to come home and finish if we can do that, and if we finish ahead of them, even better.
Another man looking for a finish was Mark Diggleman. He'd struggled in the rough of Whitianga.
We've had a good run, except the last round at Whitianga just didn't suit our boat at all. The waves were just too close together. We couldn't get on top of it. But no, we've had a good run, really good one. We were winning the championship in the 60 mile overall, and we actually missed one race out, Gulf Harbour. So, but no, the pressure's on now. They're all pretty close to us now. So, the next 2 races we really want to take.
Well, we sort of went in obviously to compete for our class, and we've more or less wrapped that up now. And of course, the challenge for us now is to try and topple the bigger boats. And of course, Mark Diggleman's done a fantastic job up to now. Had a little bit of a blimp at Whitianga. So we've sort of capitalised on that and closed the points up with 2 races to go. Mind you, looking today, the conditions don't really, we've got a really fast boat and he's been driving it really well. So we'll just try and keep that consistency that we've had all season, and if that works for us, maybe we'll be there for the last round in Auckland.
So the stage was set for a pretty exciting penultimate round here at Napier. Swells were starting to build as the wind got up, as the boats were loaded into the water. Would Sleepyhead get back on track and get a win here, or would it be Cure Kids? Coming off a fine win from Whitianga, they could do it again as we zoom into the start here from a helicopter shot, and you can see Cure Kids there and Sleepyhead just at the bottom of your shot, and Sleepyhead looks like they've got the nose in front at the moment. Cure Kids moving up well. Good start too coming from Doosan by the look of it. You're on board here with Peter Turner and Craig Archer in Sleepyhead. Picture in picture. Look at the concentration. And of course they'll be communicating all the time. Profloor's up into second place now, so they've really got into their work as they head out to sea here at Napier. Fairview Windows and Doors sitting in third place. Remember, Chris Handley replacing Warren Lewis. Warren still recuperating from his illness. Watching the driver there, that is Scott Lewis. Doosan in there, probably the best of the superboat lights at the moment. There is Addictive Racing and there is Ray Glass. And look at this, bow-to-bow stuff. We've seen it so many times this season in the Cougar Marine NX Metals New Zealand Offshore Powerboat Series. Sleepyhead just with the nose in front as they race along the shoreline. Profloor's through in second place. Now they turn and head out towards the point, and that's where all the spectators are. And look at the lift. Well, the powerboat boys call it lift. We call it big air time. Watch the antics of Sleepyhead, Cure Kids, and also Fairview Windows and Doors. And just to the outside of the shot is Profloor, so there is absolutely nothing in it in the early going. There's the best of the superboat light boats, and that's Doosan. Brand new boat this year for Kerry Gleeson and Sam Phillimore. Back on board here with Addictive, fighting out the front-running positions in the superboat light class, the 6-litre class as it used to be known. very similar. Most of the boats skater hulls with twin Mercury 225 or 300 outboards on the back. This is the start of the 60-mile race. Remember, this season we've made a little bit of a change. We've split the starts. You're on board here with Moral Motors, H17, one of the stalwarts of the Honda class. And even though the conditions look pretty flat out there, you can see that the Honda boat's certainly getting a pretty rough time of it. You can expect the classic boats to be in the front there, and that's what we see from that shot. Looks like exception to the rules in the front, and maybe Chris Neal through in second place in his big fountain. A couple of new chums out in the classic class this time. This is Tony Carson. This is the brother of Wayne Carson. Right in behind him, Mike Cameron in Marine Works. Mike coming off a win in Whitianga. I think we told you at our last show that he was second. He wasn't. He beat his arch nemesis, and that is Aussie Neil just behind him. Here is Mark Diggleman and Craig Parsons in financepoint.co.nz. And Finance Point, the local sponsors here at Napier. And these conditions will suit this boat a lot better than what we saw in the rough of Whitianga, so expect them to be going well. This is exception to the rules. This is Jeff Week and John Hewson out of Hamilton, and a couple of hangers on too. And some close racing here. The bottom of your shot is Marine Works. That's Mike Cameron and Andrew Hiller. There he is. Supercharged big block Chev powering this. This is what's happening in the Formula Hondas. This is Honda Marine. Now, they had a rocket ship start, but they must have had a problem in the early game because they've dropped back a little ways here. Oh, and there's a problem there. Oh, goodness me. You don't often see a head-on collision in powerboating, but that's what we see there. And have a look at it on the replay. Look at the damage on the front of Mike Paeroa. There's not too much damage on Outlaw by the look of it, but I'm sure the crew will be a little bit shaken up. You don't often see that sort of thing in offshore powerboating, and it's not what we want to see. And looks like some irreparable damage here. As we go back to the racing, this is Fairview Windows and Doors, Chris Hanley and Scott Lewis, and they would be in the front now, so there's been all sorts of drama out on the water as well as down here where we saw that head-on collision. Fairview Windows and Doors, this will be good for Scott because he's doing it for his sick brother Warren. Pro Floor's in second place now. And this is Wayne Velder and Ross Fish Christensen. This is the old Sleepyhead boat, and the word is that they're getting some go-fast goodies from the United States, and they should have them on the boat by the time of the final round in Auckland. This is Fairview Windows and Doors, and a big moment for them on the big sea swells here at Napier. Well, that gets your attention. Chris Hanley doing the job for Warren Lewis, Scott Lewis beside him. And this is the battle, and talk about being beside him. This is the father and daughter battle, if you like. Addictive Racing, Grant Smith and Dave Aldridge. And right beside them at the moment is Kelly Smith, Grant's daughter, and Travis Thompson. So, and Doosan there as well. So all three of the top contenders in Superboat Light are there as we're on board here with Addictive Racing. Grant Smith and Dave Aldridge. You can see if you look out the cockpit, there's not a lot of viewing as they turn and head back out around the buoy and back out towards the big ocean swells, if you like. Look at the close racing here. And we just saw a boat have a problem there. I think it was one of the Formula Honda boats. We'll concentrate on this battle. The super boats. Pro Floor's just with the bow in front now. Fairview Windows and Doors through in second place. Probably hitting speeds well over 110, 115 miles an hour on board here with Sleepyhead. This is Peter Turner and Craig Archer. Peter, a stalwart of the offshore powerboat scene, came back with a new boat that was 2 or 3 seasons ago now. It was the first of the campaigners to run the big 525 fuel-injected twin big blocks, and now all of the superboats are running those engines, and it's made the racing oh so close, as you can see it here, as Sleepyhead powers it up and goes past Fairview Windows and Doors. And that's one of the bat boats just being drowned in the middle of that shot. So if we stay with this helicopter shot long enough, we'll work out who that wake in the centre of the picture is.
Who's in front?
There is Sleepyhead. Around the mark they go once again. Fairview on the inside of them. Pro Floors, as I thought it might have been, just up ahead at the moment. So Wayne Velder and Ross Christensen doing a fantastic job in Pro Floors. Wayne, of course, losing the services of his brother this season. Grant Velder, auntie to his friends, was to be the regular co-pilot with Tony Coleman in Cure Kids, but with the demise of the Placemakers boat at the Gulf Harbour round, it meant that Wayne Carson was looking for a ride, and he jumped in with Tony, and they've combined the efforts of the Placemakers crew and the Cure Kids crew, and the results have been spectacular. They're coming off a win. Addictive, well, they just like to have a good finish because their season's been plagued by mechanical DNFs. You're back on board with them here. You can see even from our on-board shot that the drivers, even though they're belted in and they're pretty much cocooned in their safety cockpit, it still is a bit of a physical beating. Addictive Racing, another one of the skater hulls here. There are the twin Mercury engines that all these superboat light boats have in common. This is what's happening in the Honda class. It's Cougar Marine. This is Mikey Smith and Matt Hopkins leading. Oh, and major problems there. But unbelievably, they get it back under control. Well, that has been Mikey Smith's season. He's been on the edge so many times, but he just seems to get it back. This is Mike Urquhart and Light Industries. They're back in 4th place at the moment. And behind them, it's Tim Fellows in the Stealth Powerboats as we go back from our helicopter and zoom in on Sleepyhead. The New Zealand #1, defending champion Pete Turner and Craig Archer had some damage to the boat at Whitianga. And, well, a lot of people were saying, has the crown slipped on the head of Peter Turner, because he hasn't had a win. He won 4 out of 4 in the first 4 rounds of the championship. But since then, he's had 2nds and 3rds. But is he going to get his winning track back to where it should be now? He's in front at the moment. Cure Kids in 2nd, Fairview in 3rd, and Pro Floors in 4th. He turns away from the shore and heads out towards the port of Napier now. This multi-lap course. There is Cure Kids. Now compare the way that Sleepyhead sits on the water and watch the way Cure Kids sits on the water. Now I've watched this boat in flat conditions and also in the rough conditions, and it just sits on the water oh so nicely. Pro Floors, Ross Fisk Christensen and Wayne Velder going for the airtime record. There is Fairview Windows and Doors. Remember, no Warren Lewis, it's Scott Lewis and Chris Hanley, but a super sub, if you like, in Chris Hanley, because he's been there and done that in DMZ Global. So there is absolutely nothing in it in the superboat race as we go back on board here with Addictive Racing. Just up ahead of them now, it is Doosan, and that's Kerry Gleeson and Sam Fillmore. They co-own the boat and they'd be leading the superboat lights, and that's a good achievement. They're brand new to the class. There they are there, another skater hull. And look at this family battle going on behind them. On the inside, it's Addictive Racing. Now, if we hold that shot long enough, you'll see Ray Glass come in as they work their way around the mark. Oh, and some problems again for Fairview Windows and Doors, and I think you heard Scott Lewis say they've done another drive. It's plagued them all season long. They've had the speed, they just haven't quite had the reliability, although they had a brilliant win in Tauranga. Marineworks leading the 60-miler with Spirit of Cheyenne. These two get together at every single round of the Cougar Marine NX Medals New Zealand Offshore Powerboat Series. It's a friendly rivalry, but once they're on the water, well, there is no holds barred. Exception to the rules, running at about 4th or 5th place now in the 60-mile race, because there's so many different classes here. This boat, exception to the rules, running in the Classics. Scarab also running in the Classics. 3rd place in the 60-mile race. Of course, the Hondas are in the 60-mile race as well. The Sport 60 boats are in the 60-mile race, and the Super Sport 60s. And the Super Sport 60s, so that's an interesting one as well, because Mark Diggelman is running in that, and I think he would be leading it. Well, there's some problems here for Scarab, is it? It is. Tony Carson doing some running repairs. Here's another one of the Bat boats. This is Family Boats. And this is Mark Titini and Duncan Field, so they've had a change of crew as well. Mark normally crewing with Bob Smith in the Superboat Light boat, but Family Boat's the Superboat Light version, not here today at Napier. So Mark's got a ride in the Sport 60. There is Connacher Minolta. This is Greg Breek and Eldon Archer. They would be leading their class, but really the battle for them will be in the 60-mile race, and that is being led at the moment by Marine Works. That's got a distinctive sound, that big block supercharged Chevy. You can hear the whine of the supercharger as the engine lugs down. Well, these engines aren't lugging down. This is Sleepyhead, Peter Turner and Craig Archer. You're on board with them here. Fantastic shots as you're watching Craig Archer on the throttles, Peter Turner doing the driving. And what a combination these guys have turned out to be. Really a physical beating when you're in the cockpit of the boats. You can see from our helicopter shot not too much left of Sleepyhead in the water. Kua Kids through in second place now. This brand new skater, single cockpit, one of the more modern designs here in New Zealand. Certainly brand new to Tony Coleman. He's a refugee from Formula Honda, decided to step up. As I said, started off the season with Grant Velder. Now it is Wayne Carson sitting on the throttles. We've had a change in leader in the 60-mile race now because it's Jeff Week in the Mercury-sponsored exception to the rules. Now, for history buffs out there, they will know that boat as the old Sleepyhead, the very old Sleepyhead. Cougar Marine leading the Hondas. And that is good for the championship because going into this one, it was Building Solutions just by around about 20 points. Here's Mark and Bryce Helms. They're in third place. And Building Solutions just up in front of them. And this is a family battle of sorts as well because there is Building Solutions. Now, the skipper, if you like, of Building Solutions is Michael Knight. Well, he just happens to be Mark Helms' son. First and second place in the Superboat lights. And look at this, there is absolutely nothing in it. At the bottom of your shot, it is Addictive. At the top, it is Doosan. And here is Ray Glass. Well, they're coming off their one and only DNF of the season. That was in the rough at Whitianga. They punched a hole in one of the hulls on the Cat. But Kelly Smith and Travis Thompson doing a good job here. And look at the vastly different lines they're taking as they head out to sea once again. We go back on board with Addictive Racing. Grant Smith and Dave Aldridge. Once again, they've got to ride with the bumps or as they come up out of the water and then crash down onto the waves again. And this family battle, well, it looks like it's going to go right down to the wire because Ray Glass just a nose in front at the moment of Addictive Racing. Now, if you find these two not too far away, will be Doosan. There it is. Doosan Construction. Another brand new combination this year. Carrie Gleason and Sam Fillmore. Sam and Carrie both coming from Formula Honda. Well, these boats are so evenly matched. But what they've got to watch for, of course, is some of the faster and, of course, some of the slower traffic as well. Here's some of the faster traffic. This is Pro Floors. Here's the fastest of them all. It's Sleepyhead, Peter Turner and Craig Archer. Well, I think they have got their winning formula down once again. This is a Phantom designed hull, New Zealand designed and built hull running 2.525 cubic inch electronic fuel injected Mercruiser V8 engines, as are all the superboats this season. Oh, and CRD Automotive making, oh, in fact, I beg your pardon, it's Light Industries making hard work of it there. Mike Urquhart, well, all the experience in the world. Honda Marine coming back into it as well, back to base 6 there too. So nothing in it in Formula Hondas. And really, the racing is so close in Formula Hondas, you've either got to get a bad start or make just one small mistake and you lose probably 3 or 4 places. Cougar Marine leading and running about 4th place, I think, in the 60-mile race. So that's a fantastic performance for Mike Smith and Matty Hopkins. This is a championship winning boat from last year, piloted by Chris and Debbie Bartlett. Yes, you probably worked out by now that Mikey Smith is Grant Smith's son. So it is a family affair when the Smiths from Wellington go powerboat racing. You're on board with them here. Dave Aldridge doing the driving. Grant Smith on the throttles of the boat he owns. Addictive Racing. Here's his daughter. Just a bit of a dent in the side of the boat there, so I wonder if there's been some contact. There's been some very, very close racing between Doosan and Ray Glass. We'll have to check up on that for you. Sleepyhead, though, has already started to assert their dominance here. Peter Turner and Craig Archer, are they back to their winning ways? Back on board here with the duo Pete Turner doing the driving, Craig Archer on the throttles. You see him hanging on as well, and he's got his feet braced too. If you have a look down there, just below the GPS unit and the digital readout, you'll see his foot locked together on his foot plate. That's just to keep him steady. He's watching all the time. You see him looking left and right just to see where the traffic is. Something like 35, 40 boats would have started today, and the speed difference is huge. Checkered flag comes out, and it's Sleepyhead gets the win, but look how close it's going to be for second and third. Cure Kids is going to hang on, but a rampant Pro Floors just about pinked their pocket as they came across the line. There is absolutely nothing in it. Oh, and there's problems here on board Sleepyhead. Looks like an engine fire of some sort. So a bit of drama over the finish line for Peter Turner and Craig Archer. Craig there just trying to see what the problem is. Safety boats get there quickly, but I think the guys have got the extinguishers out and got it cleaned up. So drama here at the end of what has been a very successful round. Sleepyhead takes the win in the Superboats. In second place it is Cure Kids, and in third place it is Pro Floors. In the Superboat Lights it is Kelly Smith and Travis Thompson taking the win from Carrie Gleeson, with Grant Smith and Dave Aldridge through in third. 60-mile race falls to exception to the rules Jeff Week, with second place Mike Cameron in Marine Works. Third place is Tony Carson.
Well, that's it for Retro Motorsport this week. Thanks again for watching. See you next week.
You'd have to say as we're back on board with the circuit here at Paeroa. Here's the race leaders. Oh, there are all sorts of problems.
Oh, big carnage. Oh, straight to the barriers. And through the smoke we come.